Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to finally be taking a look at something I've been meaning to show everybody for a while, but it wasn't quite ready, but I think it's pretty close, but it could still change, I guess. That is my HX Stomp based pedal board. I have the Helix here. I have a Podgo. The Helix is hooked up in the studio, and I could just unplug everything, take it out live, play gigs with it, but I always just kind of leave it hooked up in the studio. I don't know, maybe it's laziness. I hate to be unplugging everything. It's kind of patched into a system here, and I use it so much in the studio. And as much as I love the Helix, for live playing, a lot of times I find that the HX Stomp, with a couple little additions added to it, is pretty much all I need for playing most live shows that I do. Now, if I really did need the Helix, it's not a problem. I could unhook it and take it with me. Actually, even the Podgo is going to be a very useful little gigging board where I may actually just grab that and go sometimes as well, if it's all I need. But I wanted to put together a nice HX Stomp pedal board with a few extra little bells and whistles to it, and I finally have it where I want it. And I've had a lot of folks asking me a lot of questions about things like how I power it, what other, sort of additions have I put on there to kind of get it to the point where I find it's really usable for my purposes live. Now, obviously, this is not necessarily going to work for everybody. We're all going to have different needs and different uses. But for me, this is a very cool setup, and I just wanted to share it with you. And hopefully this will answer some of the many questions I've received over the past little while about the pedal board. And I'll show you some of the cool things that I'm using on it. All right, so without further ado, let's jump down onto the floor and take a look at the pedal board itself. All right, so here we are. Here is what I think is this wonderful new pedal board. I'm very, very happy with it. Really thrilled to be using this. Okay, so what we do have here is, of course, an HX Stomp, and that is feeding over into this Strymon El Capistan tape echo, which is then feeding over into the Strymon Blue Sky Reverb pedal, which is then all feeding over into this Eros Loops, Singular Sound Eros Loop Studio, which I absolutely love. And over here, the HX Stomp is being controlled by the Morningstar MC8, which in turn has a Mission Engineering EP1 expression pedal into one of the Omni ports of the MC8. With this setup here, I pretty much have everything I need to get the job done for pretty much, I would say, 90% of anything that I do live. Now, you might say, well, how is all this being powered? Well, let's take a look first at the Temple audio board. So this Temple audio board is, I believe they're 24-inch board. Geez, it's been a while since I looked at the specs on it. But what I've added to it, and the Temple boards are really interesting because they have this unique ability to add modules onto the end. And what I've done here is added their power module on. So it's really cool. It has a switch on and off, so I can just turn everything on with one switch, plugging a normal power cord into it. On the other end, I have their patch bay right here, which allows me to patch my outputs in. I can also patch my input in there, anything else I want, but all I'm using right now are the two outputs, so I can take that out to a board live. Or for our purposes here, I'm using it into my IK Multimedia Axe IO audio interface. So it's just going straight into that and we're good to go. So that's what I love about the pedal board. The Temple boards, sorry, they have a number of different modules available, everything from patch-based to power options. I believe they have a power supply now. Go check out Temple audio boards at their website. I'll try to put the links, actually the link should be in the description below. Go check them out. Really great folks, fellow Canadians as well. And I love working with them. So a lot of folks are saying, well, how are you powering all of this? Well, the one thing I am doing, and hopefully this shows up all right on camera, just slide that back. I am using the True Tone CS7, okay? And believe it or not, it is powering this very, very nicely, okay? One thing you'll notice about the CS7 is it has these ratings, right? 9 volt, switchable to 12 volt, 200 milliamp, 200 milliamp, 200 milliamp, over to these 500 milliamp. The great thing about the True Tone power supplies that I really love, and the reason I chose it, is because you don't have to stick to the rating of each individual output. You just can't go over the total power output of the power supply. And in the case of the CS7, I believe it's 1900 milliamps. And I was a little concerned at first because the Aeros Loop Studio takes 500 milliamps. Both Strymon pedals are 250 milliamps each. And from what I understand, the HX Stomp is right around 1 amp. So, you know, I thought, man, and even on startup, I think it takes a little more juice. So I was thinking, I wonder if this is all going to work. And then the MC8, I don't believe is drawing too much power. But again, when I turned it on, everything's worked. I've tested it thoroughly. Everything seems perfectly fine with it. So it works really well. Obviously, you have to use a couple of the special connectors in the CS7 to power up the HX Stomp, but no problem there. I also have this one control, I don't know if you guys can see that, MIDI connector right here, which is a really nice MIDI cable, very flexible, and you can actually change it to either side, right angle on either side, depending on the orientation of your MIDI cable. So that's what's connecting my HX Stomp to my MC8. And I may connect the MC8 up to the Aeros Loop Studio at some point. I haven't got there. I haven't really programmed the board yet, and I also have a little bit of tie wrapping to do as well. Now, as far as cables go, what I used was the Planet Waves solderless plug kit with the mini plugs. Really, really easy. You can see those here and here, here. Well, I was able to cut them to sort of custom lengths, and they work beautifully. I was able to put this together really quickly. I didn't have quite enough, so I did use a couple existing George L cables that I had here to wire the final output of the Singular Sound looper into the patch bay underneath the board. The other great thing I have on here is the Mission Engineering EP1 from my great friends over at Mission Engineering. I love those guys and make some great products. And the nice thing is the screw holes under, if you remove the back plate, they line up perfectly with the holes on the Temple Audio board. So you're able to actually screw them right into the board. So I'm not even using the sort of quick release lock plates that come with, that you can add to your Temple board to secure everything on. These are all these other pedals are secured with those. It's an adhesive plate that goes on the little thumb screw, and you can move these around anywhere very effortlessly. So it's really nice stuff. And even those, I had to take one of those plates off, and you know, it leaves a little bit of adhesive on your pedal, but using, as they show on their website, a little bit of the Goo Gone adhesive remover, and it's really simple to take it off. So it cleans up nice, so no problem with that. And I have the same mounting system used for the True Tone CS7 underneath. It's just the other way. So it works really well. So I can just flip a switch and turn this all on. So let's do that right now, and we'll see how everything powers up. So as I've done there, I've switched. You see the Morningstar Engineering goes on, HX Stomp is booting up, Strymon pedals are up and running. And then the Aeros Looper kind of comes in later. It takes a little longer to boot up. And pretty much within, I would say, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 seconds, everything is up and running and working really nicely. So that's it. It's working awesome. It's beautiful. You know, it's really funny because I'm actually enjoying, again, using some real pedals. As I just recently did a video where I was comparing the Strymon pedals to the Pod Go, which would also, you know, be like comparing it to the HX Stomp and Helix as well, to hear what the reverbs and delays kind of sounded like in comparison. And, you know, honestly, the Pod Go, Helix, HX Stomp really stands up nicely, although there's a lot more, let's call it tweakability, let's say, utilizing the Strymon pedals. But the reason I added those on is just with the Stomp, you know, we're down to that 6-block limit. I really enjoy having reverb and delay on most of my patches, so I thought that'll free up 2 blocks in my Stomp. And then it's been kind of fun being able to just like reach down and really quickly turn a knob and, you know, maybe make the delays a little darker or add a little bit more. So, or even just with the edge of my foot, you know, do it. It's been fun. It's been good. Morningstar MC8, I've done some videos on that recently. I can't say enough good things about my friends over at Morningstar. This new MC8, they've really outdone themselves. It's an amazing MIDI controller. I haven't got it totally programmed yet with the board. This isn't really about showing you the board working, how I would use it yet, but you know, I'm gonna obviously program some sounds. I'll probably just use my own marketplace sounds in the HX Stomp, have those programmed in, just, you know, remove the delay and reverb block that I have in there and use the Strymons for when I'm playing live, and I'll be up and running, set to go. And then use, you know, with the Mission Engineering EP1, I can basically program that to control any parameters that I want in my HX Stomp effortlessly through my MC8. And yeah, it's working really nice, really happy with this system and really excited about getting back out and playing with it once we get to play some shows again. And yeah, it's wonderful, great system. So let's do this. Let's maybe take a quick listen to how all of this sounds. All right, so that's my new pedal board. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that, and I hope, I don't know, I hope it was useful to some folks to see how I have that all put together, and maybe even seeing some components that you haven't been exposed to lately, like the Singular Sound looper or the Strymon pedals and whatnot. But everything's working really nicely. I'm really happy with it, and it came together pretty nicely once I decided on what I wanted and how it's all, and how I needed it all to work and what I needed to accomplish my goals. So hopefully that'll help some of you guys decide if you want to put a few extra bells and whistles onto a pedal board with your HX Stomp. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I'll be back soon with some more content. Please like the video, share it if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put some new videos out. All right, I'll be back soon, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Ciao for now.